Alright guys, this is a 3 keys to victory for each guy for Anthony Joshua's title defense at Madison Square Garden versus Andy Ruiz Jr. or Ruiz Jr. Take your pick. Alright, so let's start with the challenger. The keys for Andy Ruiz Jr. First thing Andy must do, you got to use your hand speed to beat AJ to the punch. Included in that is throwing those rapid combinations you're known for. Punches and bunches. You had Joseph Parker perplexed and probably should be an undefeated world champion. The first Mexican or Mexican-American world heavyweight champion. Probably should be. Well, use that excellent 3-punch, the left hook that couldn't miss Parker all night. Whether you lead with it or counter with it, you found success with Parker, and you need to look for that same success against Joshua. Throw your right hand over the top to start, to continue, or to punctuate a combination. It'll be available against Joshua. Secondly, you should have watched video of the Povetkin, Takam, and to an extent the Parker fights. Joshua seems to struggle a bit more with shorter fighters. Not necessarily Parker, as he's a few inches taller than you are, and Takam and Povetkin. However, Parker made himself smaller during the fight and gave Joshua fits. AJ also struggled with Takam as he got low and he moved his head and his legs. Once again, made himself smaller than he was, even smaller. Povetkin also made himself small, and AJ at times crouched to throw punches. So he crouched a little more, but it was awkward for him. And sometimes it caused him to reach and to lunge. By doing so, he got off balance and sometimes out of position, leading to potential counter shots. That's something that Parker can also look at. Get inside the jab. You like fighting at close range, so do so. You have a better inside game than Joshua does. Lastly, and I know that's more than 2 keys, but keys inside of keys, right? Lastly, unlike Jarrell Miller, you have been there before. Act like it. You fought a champion, Parker, in his home country, New Zealand, to a split decision, which means anywhere else you would have probably been declared the winner. Coming to Saturday night's fight, come in there knowing you have championship experience. You have that experience. Also, you are a late substitute, and that could work your way. Lastly, learn from your past experience. You didn't step on the gas late in the Parker fight. And if this fight with Joshua gets late, you need to turn it up late and learn from the close loss to Parker. Do those things, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hold your place in Mexican as well as heavyweight history. Now, let's look at Anthony Joshua. For Anthony Joshua, it starts with your jab. You have a superb jab. If you're smart, you should have watched Lennox Lewis fights. Lennox Lewis's fights with Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, David Tua, and who am I forgetting? Well, let's stick with those three. Lennox adapted to shorter guys, and he was dominant with his jab in those fights. While you've knocked everyone out except one man, you can be even more dominant if your rangefinder scores better for you. And you can get your jab to score better by, you can do this by jabbing to the body at times, to that big stomach that's available, and bringing your jab up to the chest. If Ruiz is offering a lot of head movement and slipping your jab, throw it towards the chest. Maybe you'll land it on the chin. Maybe not, but you'll land it. Put that stick out as much as you can. And don't feel you'll have to win as impressively as Deontay Wilder did a couple of weeks ago. If you're winning rounds with your stick, so be it. You're already in a lose-lose situation no matter how this fight turns out. So take your win however you get it and enjoy your time off in between fights. Secondly, use your size and strength to wear Ruiz Jr. down. Bully him to the ropes. Tie him up. Lean on him. Impose your will, in other words. You are the king of the ring in there. Let Ruiz Jr. know it's your domain, not his. You have about a 4-inch height advantage, and they list your reach at 82 inches. I'm not sure about that, but if true, then you have an 8-inch reach advantage. That spells Lewis versus Tua Part 2. I mean, use it. It might draw boos, but you can't focus on trying to outdo anything Deontay Wilder did or what Pulev did or Kaunacki did in their last outings. This isn't about Wilder and others. This is about what AJ achieves in the ring. And you're not going to make everyone happy. But fight your fight. Finally, don't get into a brawl with Ruiz Jr. early on. For starters, he has blazing hand speed for a heavyweight, and he's very accurate. So if you get into a brawl early on, he's probably going to outland you. Secondly, in some fights, AJ, you've punched yourself out and had like mid-round stamina issues that took a few rounds for you to be able to get your second wind. Be patient. Don't force what's not there. As many knockouts as Joshua has, he is an awesome counterpuncher. If Ruiz Jr. charges him like I expect, Joshua must do two things throughout the fight. Number one, AJ, you got to hold your ground and don't go backwards when Ruiz charges. Number two, be ready to throw your big counters. They'll be there. And don't hesitate to go to that body. All 270 plus pounds of it will be right there for you to hit. Throw those body shots with bad intentions. You do these things, AJ, and you walk out of Madison Square Garden, and still the IBO, the WBA, the WBO, and the IBF World Heavyweight Champion. So those are the keys. And just a brief statement on Deontay Wilder, because he says he signed to fight 3 matches with Louis Ortiz and Tyson Fury. So we're talking 2 pay-per-views there, right? Me, I believe the Ortiz fight is going to happen, but something tells me Adam Kalnacki is going to slip in there. So we'll see. I'm not sure about the Fury thing. He says they're signed, and they might be, but this is boxing. I've been around it too long, so we'll see. I'm skeptical on that one. We'll give a shout out to my man Vince Cummings. He kind of, I was listening to him talking, and Team Wilder. This is your Shelly Finkles and Alan Haymans and Louis DeBellas and whoever else, Mark Breland. They kind of told him, don't push the fight with AJ, which, I mean, if that doesn't tell you what the holdup has been all this long. I mean, most people, as I predicted, they're going to turn on AJ. They're going to say, like, Wilder's that dude now, and so on and so forth. Look, the world knows what the world wants, and they want the Joshua fight. And this was all about stealing the spotlight during Anthony Joshua fight week and making a series of announcements. First, you announced a deal was done with Ortiz, and then you come back a couple of days later and say Fury. It's like, come on, man. This is just, I'm going to steal thunder the day of the final press conference and then steal thunder again the day of the weigh-in. I mean, whatever. But yeah, shout out to my man Vince Cummings. The plan is this. They don't want to fight. Here's what Team Wilder is doing. Okay. They don't want to fight Anthony Joshua until 2020. They also don't want to fight Anthony Joshua in the UK. But you have to fight somewhere that can compete with Wembley Stadium, which can seat almost 100,000 people. So you look at Dallas, right? Dallas is okay, but it doesn't have the hotels or casinos necessary for a big fight like Joshua Wilder. You look at New York, that's okay, but it doesn't have the hotels or casinos necessary for a big fight like Joshua versus Wilder. So where do you go? You go to Las Vegas. They have the hotels, they have the casinos. And in 2020, a brand new stadium that will seat 4 times as many people as the T-Mobile Arena and the MGM Grand Garden Arena. 4 times the amount. So we're talking 80, 90,000 or 100,000 even. Just like Wembley. And guess what? As I stated, it opens in 2020. We're talking about the new Las Vegas Raiders stadium. And I think that's the plan. My man Vince Cummings kind of laid that out. And it makes sense. They want to fight. And guess what? And when the time comes to negotiate, you know what Anthony Joshua is going to do? You know what Eddie Hearn is going to do? They are going to accept that offer and fight Wilder in the United States. Even though the plan was always, I hold, like, I'm the #1 heavyweight in the world. I hold all the belts except one. I'm the cash cow. There's probably only one person that makes more than Anthony Joshua, allegedly, and that's Saul Alvarez. So I'll hold the cards. But now that he's come to the United States to say, all right, I'll fight here, it looks like they're game, they're game to do whatever. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays, but I think that's the plan for Team Wilder. That's about it. We'll be at the fight tomorrow. Joshua versus Ruiz. I'm not sure how much coverage we're going to give. My health has been kind of jacked up for a minute, and so I might have to go see the doc when I get back. But we'll be at the Joshua fight this Saturday for sure, and then the Golovkin fight next week, and then I'm gonna shut it down for a while. And the next one will be probably Gervonta Davis, July 27th. I don't think I'm gonna go to the Harrison Charlo or the Charlo versus Brandon Adams. And which one am I missing? Or the Tyson Fury. So I just think we'll shut it down for a minute, get our health together. Got some other challenges I have to deal with on the financial tip, something that I have to get resolved, and then we'll see. But make sure you check it out on DAZN tomorrow. I think the first bout is 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and I think they go on air at 5:30 p.m. Don't quote me. And then it's a big women's unification fight. Make sure you check that out. That's going to be big. Also, we got Chris Algieri versus Tommy Coyle. Joshua Buatsi, Marco Antonio Parabon, Josh Kelly versus the new Ray Robinson. Katie Taylor, Delphine Pearson. That's for the IBF, WBC, WBO, WBA, and Ring Magazine Women's Lightweight World Championship. That's crazy. We also got Callum Smith versus Hassam Endam. Callum Smith might be a future Saul Alvarez opponent. We got the main event, and then they got two walkout bouts that could happen in the mix if some of those fights end early, or they could happen after the main event. So make sure y'all check them out. DAZN tomorrow, and we catch you in the next one.